Okay, so this quote from Al-Tusi's work, Al-Iqtisad, is about as direct as it gets. It sets up a very clear prohibition. The Prophet himself is not allowed to tell a regular person, someone who isn't infallible, who can still mess up, hey, you're guaranteed a spot in paradise. That's a really significant restriction.
So what's the logic here? Why this rule? Well, it all comes down to a concern about human nature. The thinking is that if a regular person gets an absolute, no questions asked guarantee of heaven, it could actually become an enticement to do evil. I mean, if you've already won the grand prize, what's stopping you from slacking off, right?
Okay, so that rule for the Prophet seems pretty cut and dried. But this is where we get to the real heart of the puzzle. A completely different account paints a totally different picture. And this time, it involves the Imams.
In this account, from a text called Rijal al-Kashi, we hear Imam Abu Abdullah giving a direct order. He says, "Give glad tidings of paradise to the humble ones." Now hold on a second. Isn't this the exact same thing that was supposedly forbidden for the Prophet to do?
And this isn't some general, vague statement. The Imam specifically names 4 individuals who are to be given this promise of paradise. And here is the absolute crucial part. These followers were not infallible. They were just devout, humble people.
Now you might be thinking, maybe this story isn't as solid as the first one. But here's the thing. This narration, the one about the Imam giving these glad tidings, was authenticated by the very prominent scholar Al-Hui. That gives it some serious theological weight, which makes the contradiction impossible to just brush aside.
So, this is where it all comes to a head. We have 2 principles, both coming from respected texts that seem to be on a direct collision course with each other. Let's just lay it out, side by side. For the Prophet, on one hand, it's explicitly stated that it is not allowed to promise paradise to a regular person, and the reason given is that it might tempt them into sin. But on the other hand, we have an authenticated account of an imam doing that very thing for his followers.
So what are we supposed to make of this? Where does this apparent contradiction leave us? Let's unpack the implication here.
This all leads to a very pointed and challenging question. Is this just a simple mix-up in the texts? Or does it actually point to something deeper about hierarchy? Does this create a situation where the Imams are viewed as superior to the Prophet by allowing them something that he himself was not allowed?
And that's the bottom line of the argument being presented. The implication is that by permitting the Imams to do something forbidden to the Prophet, it effectively grants them a level of theological authority that the Prophet himself was denied.
And